Hi, today we're going to be learning about how to multiply and divide decimals. Let's get started. Okay, so I've worked through an example here where I've already done the steps, but I want us to work through this example so then we can do an example ourselves. So our first step is to ignore the decimal. Now I want you to pretend this decimal is not here and this decimal is not here. So really what you're doing is you're multiplying 35 times 16. And then you're going to multiply normally. After you multiply 35 times 16, you'll get 560. Okay, but we know that we're not multiplying 35 times 16. We're actually multiplying 3.5 times 1.6. So how do I decide where to put the decimal in the answer? Well, what I do is I say, okay, how many numbers are there after the decimal in 3.5? Well, there's only one number, which is 5, right? And how many numbers are there after the decimal in 1.6? Well, there's only one number, which is 6. So I say one number plus one number is equal to two numbers. So I need two numbers after the decimal place in 560. And that's how I decide that I have to put the decimal at 5.6 after the 5 and make it 5.6. Okay, well, let's try our own example. We're going to do 5.9 times 6.3. Well, my first step is to cross out the decimal places and multiply like I would. Okay, so I'm going to multiply quickly. 17, 54, that's a 5 now. So we have 35, so our 7, 11, 7. So I multiplied normally and I've gotten 3,717, but I need to figure out where to put the decimal place. Well, I know I have one number after the decimal place here, and I have another number after the decimal place here, so I need two numbers after the decimal place. I go, okay, 1, 2. So my decimal place has to go there. So my answer, so 5.9 times 6.3 is equal to 37.17. Okay. Well, division is the same thing as multiplication. There's the same technique where you ignore the decimal point and then you put it back in. So let's try an example. So we have 5.6 divided by 4.3. Okay. So first what we're going to do is we're going to ignore the decimal. So we have 56 divided by 43. Okay, and we learned from converting fractions to decimals when we have 56 or 40. Actually, yeah, so what we can do, we don't even have to use what we learned from fractions. We can first subtract a 43, right? So we have 1, 3, but now we have to use what we learned from fractions and converting fractions, where we add the extra 0, okay? And then we have 43, I believe, times 3 will do the trick. Yep, that will do the trick. So I have, we have 3.3, so minus 129 is 1. And I add a 0. Okay, still a 0 because I can't get anything. I add another 0. Okay, great. And this time it will be 2, so minus 86. 4, and we have 20. Now what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to stop at 1.302 because that's a good enough number. So that's my answer. Now realize that this time I didn't have to bring back the decimal number, because realize that in a sense I'm canceling out this common decimal. So all I have to do is just divide. I just have to ignore the decimal place and divide. Okay? So I hope that helped, and I hope to see you soon.